Hi, I'm actually looking up synonyms. I decided to go ahead and do. I decided to make a new attribute. After talking about it, that made me think about it, and I actually don't like the way this. I don't like the way this sounds, because I realized I didn't have any actual way. There wasn't a stat that increased damage with ranged weapons. And that would pretty much mean like the only effect to it would be well, it would be the only effect to it would actually be the only effect would be on accuracy, your ability to actually hit with it, and your range with the ranged weaponry. And even then, accuracy is actually based on is for using any weapon, really, because I needed a stat for that. And obviously, I think that would be greatly affected for like melee weapons. It'll actually be greatly affected by the weapon itself, and the accuracy might actually play less of a role. But than in ranged weaponry. But even then, I still like really because I think that's okay. I think that's necessary to some extent. But with actual like damage for those weapons, I think it needs to have a separate attribute. So I didn't want to make dexterity and then roll sneak and dodge into that, because I like having those separate too. Because I like the idea of truly unique characters where somebody's maybe they can go ahead and be good with ranged weapons and also killing things in the face, but not very sneaky. But so that's what I've done, and I went ahead and put in all of the stats. I'm actually chilling. I have to decide on an actual name. I was gonna go with let's go with skill. Sure, why not? We're gonna call skill. Finesse is your ability to deal more damage with ranged weapons. Skill is your ability to deal. I didn't want to call it luck, so the opposite of luck then. Skill. So skill is your ability to deal more critical damage. So there are now 10 attributes. I put them all in. I could also put in the rest of, well, I already have HP, which really is the only one we need for now anyway, so let's just leave it like that. There will also be, I'll have to have a place for the EVs and all that. For now, we'll just leave it like this, and we might put in level. Like that. We'll just leave it like that for now. And the idea is to start actually adding in, we're going to add scripts. We're going to put these other scripts into folders really quick. Like that. And there. So now, we have, now we're going to make a new script. I don't know what it's going to be. Let's say, we already know we can do I random, well, we can do, I think it's range like that, yeah, you can do, for figuring that sort of thing out. So we don't really need to make a script for rolling dice. I have a built-in script for randomization, so not really a big deal. Let's make one for, we're going to make one to test dodge versus, well, I guess what it is accuracy, right? So let's say, we'll say the attacker, makes sense that the attacker would do this. Attacker is going to be the one running the script, so we'll attack hit miss, we'll call it. That's as good a name as any. Actually, it's probably the worst name I could have. Anyway, argument. So we have to say what the arguments are. So let's say, well, the first argument ought to be, well, in theory, the attacker is always going to be the one running this, so they'll have that, but just because I like to do it this way, I'm going to go ahead and say, they could take the arguments. So first off, the argument 0 is going to be attacker's accuracy. Is the attacker's weapon base etc. And then we'll go ahead and add the, we'll start working on what it actually does. So what we have to do is we have to take all of this information and we have to come back with whether or not it hits. I think that would be how it works. It should return that simple answer. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to figure out how this works. And I haven't really thought about that much. So this is going to be interesting. Well, usually basic space to start, like there's the D20 system, where we could have 1 to 20, and we'd say that's what everything does. We could even make that a script that just rolls from 1 to 20. I'm not sure I want to do it like that. I certainly don't want to infringe on any copyrights, and actually just straight up use the D20 system. That would be just awful. Nobody wants to do that, even if I don't release this. I'd rather actually come up with something more original than that. And it's a computer. I don't need to worry about dice or anything anyway. Why should I be bound by those rules? So, instead, we'll use a range. So we'll say that every one of these kinds of checks, we'll say it gives it a range based on that. So we'll say, we'll create a variable, we'll say ACC, that's the actual accuracy for the characters. We'll say accuracy is the attacker's accuracy plus the base accuracy of the weapon plus the bonus based on their distance. I figure you'll probably get a bonus if you're within a certain distance, and a penalty if you're without that distance. So you'll get actually, so that might be a subtraction from it, but I'm not sure yet. And I don't want it to end up negative, so I'll have to tweak how those stats work so that it actually never ends up negative, hopefully. And then dodge, we'll call that dodge. That's going to be the defender's dodge plus the bonus based on their armor, or penalty, whichever. I might also include other arguments later. Things like, I might be able to say, other bonuses, other bonus, like, for stuff, but I might add that later, but for now it's certainly not actually a thing, so we'll not worry about it for just yet. So now we have the accuracy of the attacker and the ability to dodge of the defender, and we can actually just so what we'll do is we'll say, let's assume first off, we have the actual the numbers, but then what I ought to do is actually make it so that actually changes based on like how it actually works. I might make that a separate script, but it depends on actually how much how big the stats actually end up being. So like if I say dodge is actually the difficulty to actually against the accuracy, which would make it like a number, like 20, and then you actually have to roll. Your accuracy would then be a bonus to a roll, and then so that would mean like each point of dodge would actually mean a lot more than each point of accuracy would. So and that's going to affect how leveling works. That's going to affect how these actual checks work. So we're going to have to not worry about that just yet. Instead, I'm just going to say, I'm going to assume that what you're doing is you're rolling and you're adding your accuracy and trying to beat dodge. So we're just going to say return if and we're going to make it a range. I'm going to make it so that it well, let's see. How's about the offset could be based on something. But I'm not sure what it would be based on yet. So for now, we'll just make it a call it off for the offset. We'll say off is 5. We don't have any numbers yet. We don't know whether that's going to be good, bad, no idea. But we'll say the range is accuracy -5. Well, what's it? Off. So I actually use that +5. We'll say if that's greater than or equal to the dodge of the defender. Okay, why did that? Oh, no. Oh, dumb. Why did I say if? Silly. Very silly. No, if, return. And that'll return true if you beat, if the attacker beats the dodge of the enemy, and false if not. So, that's that. I think that this might be based off something like the level, you know? Well, this would actually be, I might as well make this a roll too then. There. That way, I don't know, it's fully random, which is probably, I don't know, maybe that's a bad thing. It's not like there's any skill based on it anyway, you're still just checking one thing against another. But, yeah. So now you can actually miss, which isn't something that was a possibility before. Oh, actually, technically, no, you can't. So let's just, I'm going to crunch some numbers really quick. I don't know if I want to, well, I can show you this. It's as interesting as anything I'm going to do. Let's say, you know, like, we'll get up a couple calculators. Let's ignore the randomness and just say what numbers might go in here. Like, right now I've set it to a default of 10 for each and every one of the stats. I don't know if, like, I don't know how big I'm going to make them, how small I'm going to make them. 10 might be actually 10 might be high, 10 might be middling, 10 might be very, very low. Right now we're assuming it's very low, so this is like level 1 characters, you know. Let's go ahead and say, you know, so like, this guy's wearing, you know, light armor, so he doesn't get a penalty, but he also doesn't get a bonus to, like, maybe if you don't wear armor or something, you can get, you know, you can be more accurate by some magic. But, we'll say he's got 10, and he's at a middling distance, so he doesn't get any bonus, so he's trying to shoot this guy with an arrow. The other guy's got 10 dodge, and he has, you know, he's wearing different armor, actually. Oh, I said armor for this, but this is actually the weapons base accuracy. So that would actually probably give a bonus, like, you know, a couple of points or something. So let's say he's at 12 accuracy versus 10 dodge. That's pretty simple. I mean, right now what we're doing is we're just saying 12, you know, versus 10, and technically that means that this guy would have a higher chance. It would be from 7 to 17. Right? Yeah. And 5 to well, 15. It's actually a pretty big margin of error. Obviously, this is just a guess on what we're actually going to call this. The reason I'm thinking about making the level actually affect, I don't even know why I brought up the calculators. I was going to do some number crunching, but there wasn't any numbers to crunch. The reason I was thinking about making it so that the offset for how the rolls work would be based on level would be so that you might, like, get, you know, it might increase the maximums just slightly as you level up, so that you can actually, that way stronger enemies are truly stronger. I'm not sure that that's a good idea or not, it just came to mind. Really not, neither here nor there, really. Let's see. So, we could actually test this out, see how often they miss and hit and that sort of thing. Make an object float text. Let's make a draw. Miss in the air, like that. And maybe make it gray or something. You know, just to make it stand out, since it otherwise probably wouldn't. And we'll make it only live for so long. And we won't make it move around or anything, just to save us the trouble of having to add those other variables and all that other code for now. There. So now at least destroys itself eventually, so that we can make it go away. So now when a character actually gets within range and goes to do their attack, where does? Way down here. It just takes the HP off of the target, just automatically. It doesn't even consider any of that other stuff. So instead, we'll say this. If attack hit miss, well, let's actually say, let's change the name of that really quick, because that doesn't make sense, because it returns Boolean. We'll say attack hit. So if attack hit, which would, you know, I like it when it translates pretty literally into, it has a bunch of arguments, like a whole bunch, 5 arguments. So let's go through and let's add in those arguments. There he is. So if attack hit, argument 0 is the accuracy, I believe, of that guy, and accuracy is, I believe, the first thing. So that's actually I call these attrib, I think. So that's his 0th attribute. And the other things were a couple of other things that I don't have yet, like the weapons accuracy, and accuracy based on the distance, which I don't check for yet. I might make a script for that. There might also be, I don't think there's really going to be much to do with terrain. I don't want to bother with it. So it won't be, up and, you won't be able to take the high ground and therefore win. But it also needs to take the target dot, and I have to go back through and actually check what it is. I said it, dodge is actually it's the second one, so not that big of a deal. And then, so we also take the dodge, or, well, now it's a trib, 1. And there's another thing, I think, and that's done. Oh, well, no, not done. There. Well, there, done. So, okay, if the attack hits, it takes the damage away from the health of the attacked party. I call it a tribs. I will just change the name. It's the first time I used it. If I said a trib before, then fine. Good enough. Alright. So now it tests those things against each other, and sometimes they'll miss. And they're even, so it'll probably be more or less a coin toss, I think. Well, or they'll always miss or something weird like that. We'll see. Give them each somebody to kill. Actually, if I recall correctly, I had a better time with this. I was actually able to beat. Did it actually move? Okay, now we can actually kill him. Well, it's going down more slowly. I didn't actually make it display the miss text. I can make it do it really quick. And since it doesn't move, you'll barely be able to tell. Well, I might as well make it move then. Float text. Just a little though. Why? Minus equals 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Sure, whatever. Just it's probably gonna be pretty slow actually, but Come down here, and if it hits, otherwise, we'll make it. Put it on the enemy. So target.x, target.y, float text. I might be able to make that, I might actually go ahead and make it so that it has a variable and you can change what the text actually says and that sort of thing. What the color is or something, I don't know. Okay. So everybody kill this guy in the face. This guy right here. Yeah. Kill him. Alright. Does he not have it? There you go. Miss. This guy turned gray. Why did that? I know exactly why that happened, but I'm not going to worry about it. Miss. See, it happens. It happens. Misses happen. I know exactly why that happened. Don't worry about it. I can maybe even like randomize their stats. you know? So if I go ahead and actually make it so that characters have randomized stats. Here, let me go ahead and fix that graying. It's because of, it's again a problem of not having the full version. I have to set these variables myself. I had to change the color, and if I don't change it back, things change to different colors, like all silly like, and that actually was a good time for, you know, the miss text to be there. I liked it. I think that worked out pretty well. So let's really quick before I go. I'm gonna actually make it range. We'll say 5 to 10. Well, we'll make it. I don't want to make it that low because it already subtracts off. So we'll say 6 to 11. Sure, why not? We'll do the same for dodge. Maybe I'll actually make them write their numbers on there. I can make them display. Here, let me pause really quick. I'm gonna do this so I don't run out of time. Okay, there. Top number now. The number displayed on them. The top number is the top number is the accuracy. The lower number is the dodge for the character. So just for funsies. So then we'll beat the crap out of this guy over here. And since there is no AI, they're dingbats, they'll just sort of attack. See, whee! You can see misses happening and stuff. I probably should have made the ranges bigger just to see the big difference, you know, like. It's actually kind of cool though. It's nice just to, you know, it's the start of things. Health might be kind of high. Oh, that's actually kind of evening out. Miss. Oh. Oh man, who's gonna win? Oh, it's the most important battle of the century. Oh jeez. I don't know who won. Probably not me. I'm terrible at everything, aren't I? Even my own game. Subscribe! Subscribe because I failed. That's why you should subscribe. No, I'm doing things. I'm not failing. I'm doing great things. All these things I'm doing, and you should subscribe to see more of the things I do. We'll see. We'll change more of these stats. We'll make them actually do things like with the accuracy and the dodge. I promise. And you should subscribe and find out what happens. It's probably going to be mostly the same as this. It's okay. Do whatever you want.